Have you heard of the saying that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions that you ask? And it is so true, because anything you want in your career, anything you want in your life, and everything you want in your business, that knowledge to get there is in someone else's mind. So you see, your questions are going to be your answers. When you can ask good questions, you will be able to accumulate the knowledge that you need, and therefore the skills that you need to be able to produce the outcome that you truly desire. So that's why in this video, I am passionate about sharing with you my best strategies on how to ask better questions so that you can have better outcomes. By the way, if this is a topic that is interesting to you and you are serious about producing better outcomes in your life, in your career, and in your business, then give me a like below and remember to follow my channels, because every single week I release videos about this topic, about topics on speaking and articulation, and about topics to help you think differently so that you can always produce the outcome that you desire to get to where you want to be from where you're at right now. So remember to follow my channel. So how to ask better questions to have better outcomes. Tip number one is to reverse engineer it from the specific outcome that you desire. And that requires clarity. What is your dream? What is the desired end state? What is the outcome you desire that you are working towards? For example, let's say you are looking to start a coaching business and maybe you don't know which social media platform to use, right? And if you were to ask someone, for example, what is the best platform to start a business? What's the best social media platform? Which social media platform should I go on? If you were to ask someone that question is too broad for someone to answer you. And therefore, because it's so broad, you're not going to get a helpful response. So a better question would be to know what is the specific outcome that you desire. And then you reverse engineer a question. So one example of a specific outcome is in this case, to start a coaching business. So an example of a specific outcome could be to get new clients into my courses without spending a lot of money on advertising. So that's a really specific outcome. So then, because you know that's your specific outcome, then you simply reverse engineer what the question is. So then the better question becomes, which social media platform is the easiest for new coaches to attract first-time clients who are looking for courses on this ABC topic? Now that becomes a very actionable question. And also, when you ask a question with that level of specificity, it will help serve you, because the answer to that will be the answer to that question will be your answer in what you have to do next. But also, you will also help the person you are asking, because it is specific. Then it will be easy for them to answer your question, and there's not going to be a whole lot of sifting or understanding that they have to go through in order to be able to provide you the answer. So the more specific your question is, and the more oriented it is towards your desired outcome, the win-win situation. Let me give you another example. Another example of a question: how long do you think it will take me to learn this skill? Now, as a coach that coaches entrepreneurs, professionals on speaking and articulating better, on how to improve their business, as a coach who has served individuals like this is one of the questions I often get asked. Right? People who are coming in and they want me as their coach, they ask me, how long will it take me to learn? How long will it take me to do this? Essentially, that's what I want to know. But you see, sure, that is a question you can ask, but it doesn't bring you to your desired outcome. Knowing how long it's going to take you, asking a coach or a mentor, how long is this going to take me to do this, is not going to bring you to your desired outcome. Because even if they said something like, oh, it's going to take a couple years, or let's say they say it's going to take at least 2 years, or at least give it 12 good months, it's still not going to bring you to your desired outcome. Because even if they said 12 months or 2 years, how do you know what to do? What are you going to do with that information? And they can't possibly know. How can anyone possibly know how long you're going to take to master something? Because they know, like, I know my processes work. If you want to be mentored by me, I know my processes work. I know my systems work, but I also don't know if you're going to implement them. I don't know if you're going to show up and apply and implement what I have taught you. So it's not possible for me to say it's going to take you 12 months or 2 years or however amount of time to learn this. So you see, asking a question, it's that important that it's going to bring you to the desired outcome, but it's also important that the question you ask helps the person you're asking to be able to help you. Because even if you got the answer to such a question like that, and let's say it was going to take you 6 months, you still don't know how to proceed to get the outcome. And then therefore, right, you don't know what to do next. So a better question, right? How do you improve upon the question like that? A better question would give you the knowledge that empowers you to learn that skill. So let's say an example of a better question would be, what are some daily practices that I need to integrate into my life that will accelerate the process of learning the skill? Right? So instead of asking, how long does it take? I'm asking, what do I need to do? What are some daily practices that I need to implement, integrate in my life so that I can master this skill set? Now, the answer to that question will tell you exactly what you need to do. And it'll tell you also how you need to show up. It'll also tell you the commitment level that you need to have. And those things are more important, not how long it takes, right? Because if you're committed to developing this skill set, if you're committed to going to that next level, I would say, how long does it take? However long it takes, you do what you need. However long it takes, you commit to that process. That would be my answer. Right? So the litmus test is this. And by the way, before I go into the litmus test, by the way, if you are serious about having the coach to take you by the hand, to show you how to implement this, to show you how to take your life to the next level, to take your communication to the next level, then I invite you below this link, below this video, there's a link to apply for coaching from me. This is where you can receive the professional help to be able to help you to communicate effectively, to be able to help you to take your career or your business to the next level. So click the link below and I hope to see you on the inside. Okay, so the litmus test. How do you know whether or not the question you're about to ask is an effective question? Here's the litmus test. 2 things, right? 2 things. The first thing is that you ask yourself, is this question specific enough that it can be answered concretely? Because let's face it, if the person you're asking is unable to give you a concrete answer, it'll still be wishy-washy. There'll still be a lot of confusion. Now, granted, I'm assuming that the person you're asking is knowledgeable, right? Because there could be that they're unable to give you a concrete response because your question was not specific enough. Or it could be that they're unable to give you a concrete response because they don't have that ability themselves, right? So that is where your wisdom is important. Your discretionary wisdom is important. Now, I'm assuming that that the person you're asking has that level of expertise because they have that success in their own life, and they've been able to coach other people to have that success as well. So I'm assuming that they have that expertise. So that's why the first litmus test is the question specific enough that it can be answered concretely? Number 1, right? So the second litmus test is, does the question lead you to the outcome you desire? And a pro tip to be able to ensure it is specific enough, your question is specific enough, is you can support your question with examples. And if you use examples in your question, this is especially helpful if you could be asking a difficult question or even a question that could have multiple interpretations. And so you give an example so that you can receive a more clear and concise answer. Let me give you an example of an example that you can ask in a question. Okay, now for example, if I were to ask someone, what is the most counterintuitive advice that you've received about how to build wealth? Right? And so the reason why I'm asking this question is because I want to build wealth in my life. Let's say that's what I want to do. And I'm asking a coach, I want to know what advice they've received that was counterintuitive, because I know that sometimes the most counterintuitive advice is the type of advice you got to pay attention to. So I'm asking this person, what is the most counterintuitive advice that you've received about how to build wealth? But you see, a question like that could be difficult to answer because of the many ways it could be interpreted. What do you mean counterintuitive? Do you mean that the advice wasn't good enough? Or do you mean that the advice was opposite from what other people said? Or do you mean that it was a rare answer or it was really unique to that individual? What do you mean by counterintuitive? And so that's, in this case, because there's multiple interpretations, that makes it could make the question difficult to answer. Then it would be helpful to support that question with an example. So then I would ask the question and support it with an example right away. And here's what it would sound like. What is the most counterintuitive advice that you've received about how to develop an abundant mindset for wealth. For instance, one of my mentors once told me to splurge on a nice dinner out that is outside what I would normally spend on a meal. And that was his advice for me, and it was counterintuitive. So what would be a counterintuitive advice that you received? See, I have asked my question, the same question, but to clarify, I had supported it with an example. And when you're supporting your questions with an example, it also gives the person you're asking the question to, it gives them some extra time to be able to formulate their answer because you are giving an example. So it gives them that extra few moments to formulate their best response for you. So example serves two purposes. It helps to ensure that you're getting an actionable answer for yourself, but it also helps the other person and it gives them more clarity on what you wish to receive from that answer. And it gives them extra time to formulate the best answer for you, right? And so then therefore, what you're doing is you're crafting your questions from an improvement mindset instead of from an information mindset. Here's what I mean by that. Any question you ask, so long as it passes that litmus test that I told you about earlier, right? The way that you're asking the questions, you want to adopt an improvement mindset, which means that you're asking questions from the standpoint of wanting to improve. It could be wanting to improve a skill set. It could be wanting to improve your finances. It could be wanting to improve your relationships as they are now, or improving your career path, or improving your experience of life. So come from it from a mindset of, I want to improve ABC. I want to improve this. And do that, adopt that mindset instead of the mindset of wanting more information. Now, most people, when they ask questions, they're asking the question for the purpose of getting more information, but information is never enough. You see, information is overabundant in today's world, all over the internet, on YouTube. I'm sure you've watched more than, this is not your first YouTube video today, isn't it? Right? And so information is so overly abundant, but it's not enough, because if it was enough, you would have been able to achieve the change that you want to achieve. And so information alone could never be enough. What more do you need? You need coaching, you need guidance, you need that tailored feedback to your situation. You need someone to come in and tell you and show you what to focus on, what strategies to implement, and when to implement those strategies. So ask your questions based on improvement, and then seek the coach that will help take you there to really solidify the learnings. And when you do that, you will be unstoppable and you will achieve that which you truly desire to achieve.